When we open up to page 121, it's going to be our opinions writing. And we picked a character. Our character was?
Toad.
And our theme was? So that's what we're working from. We already talked about it, but we do not need to make this up on the fly as we write our paragraph today. If we go back to page 111, we have our planning page where we wrote a topic. We wrote a few topic sentences, and then we started to plan out examples of, hey, reasons that toads are very irresponsible and specific examples from the story. So he's irresponsible because he steals things like a car. We later learned that he also steals a horse, right? So he's stealing things. We know he lies. Some examples of him lying are he lies to the barge woman. He lies to Rat, right? So specific examples. He crashes things. He crashes his boats and motor cars and caravans. He spends too much money on boats and cars, right? When I go to write my paragraph, I don't need to reinvent it. Eyes up here, please. All of this is going to turn into, at minimum, at least 8 sentences. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And last but not least, our concluding sentence, which restates our topic sentence, letting us know, hey, I was focusing on Toad, and this was my theme, okay? I want to be flipping back and forth between 121 and 111 so that I get all those pieces in. So we worked on our planning page where we kind of drafted things out. I'm going to wait because I still have people who are playing with things in their lap rather than having eyes up here. When we're going through, we go through the whole writing process. We stopped and we planned and we talked about all these different themes in the animals. Then we picked one and we put it on our planning paragraph page, which we've talked about. Now we're starting to write it. 3rd graders, if you go back even just one page, we have the revision checklist. Today, as you guys wrap up those sentences, this is what I want you to jump back to. Today is a really big focus on revision. Now, revision is not editing. Revision is changing and adding and fixing and moving your writing so that it has the best flow possible. One of the things we talked about, Miss Viola, is that when we are writing this opinion piece, we are writing from kind of the events at the beginning of our story through the end. I don't want to tell you about how he is irresponsible and steals a motor car before I tell you about how much he spends all his money on those motor cars. So kind of do it in an order as you guys are writing it, okay? And if it's not in order the first time through, well, guess what? 3rd graders, we revise. And I want you to go to this page and make sure you have all these. Now, it is so easy, and I see 3rd graders do this all the time. Do I have a topic sentence? Yes, 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 yes. Why is what I'm doing not okay? Yes. Charlie. I didn't even read those. And I have 3rd graders who do that every year. Don't be one of those 3rd graders. Got it? Actually check. Do I have a topic sentence? I believe Toad is the best example of a theme, irresponsibility in the wind and the willows. Yes, I do. Before you just start marking yes, read it and check. Do I have a good concluding sentence? Do I? Do I? Because I'm reading mine and I don't even have all my reasons and examples yet. So do I have a good concluding sentence?
No.
Absolutely not. I wrote one on my planner, but have I transferred it over to this page yet?
No.
So I definitely don't have that yet. So I can't say I do. Are there any parts that do not make sense? Am I, as a good reviser, before I can mark yes or no on that, what do I need to do? Look back at it. Reread it. Now, 3rd graders, my advice to you is as you're going through these pieces, whisper read it to yourself because you would be amazed at how many silly little things you find or you're like, wow, I skipped a word or two there just because you're reading it out loud. Your brain thinks faster than your hands sometimes. It happens to me all the time. And you'll think you wrote a word or two down and you skipped it. And you know what? Your whole writing is going to be funky then. But if you read it out loud to yourself, you'll catch it. Okay? Do my sentences flow well in this order? This is going to be one where like, oh, do I need to move some things around? And the really cool thing about revising, this isn't our final piece, Apollo. So if I'm like, oh, this whole reason right here needs to go above my other reason, I can just draw arrows and put it where I want it. Isn't that kind of neat? This doesn't have to be perfect and beautiful because guess what that's for? Your final draft. And that's going to be tomorrow. Yeah. So we want to make sure that we do all the moving and revising today. Do I have a good variety of sentence structure? That's what we talked about, long sentences, short sentences. Are you using transition words through it? Okay. Could I combine any of my sentences? We even talked about that piece over here where we said our example or our reason was that Toad's irresponsible. Right away, we said when he stole a car, and we made it into one complete thought. Instead of saying, Toad is irresponsible when he steals. Toad stole a car. I put it into one thought. And is that okay? Yep, that's a good way to combine some sentences. Do I have a variety of descriptive words? Third graders. If you don't have them, what can you do? Add them. You don't have to, again, you don't have to erase things in order to do revising. Move it. Draw in little carrots like this. You know what those are? Yeah. Draw it in and add in words. Add in entire sentences. It's okay. That's what revising is for. Is my paragraph interesting? If not, you might need to add some more really good details from our story. Because is Wind in the Willows interesting? Yes. Yes. So if your paragraph's not interesting, pull more examples from Wind in the Willow to make it interesting. And is this my best work? Be honest with it. Only you know that. Okay? This is what we're using today to help us in our writing. And all of you are going to start to make sure you have those pieces. I have a handful of you who have been sitting idle, which means you're not doing anything right now. You're not doing anything today. So this would be a really good task for you, right? Some of you are still finishing up your writing from the other day, and that's really good because you found what you need to do to make yourself successful today. Okay? Revising is not an easy piece, and it's not a one-time piece. Good writers are going to revise and then go through the list again and revise again and then go through it again and revise until it feels really good. The next thing I want to show you is if we all turn to page, gotta find it, 13.3, so page 129. We have an editing checklist as well. We are not going to hit the editing checklist today for sure, but we are going to be reaching towards it. That's what we're going to be working towards is that editing piece. Do I have fitting titles? These are little things that you can change. Capital letters, punctuation, are words spelled correctly? Does it make sense? Does each sentence provide a complete thought? Editing is incredibly important, but it's not revising, and I don't want you to get the two mixed up. We will check for capital letters and punctuation at a separate time, right before we do our final copy. Okay? Now you can continue with today's task, and we only have about 10 minutes to work today, but do your very best to get this done and done well, and check it with your revising list.